Welcome to Stuff Around the House. I'm Ryan, and today we're going to be talking about store shortages. In the news recently with coronavirus, there has been a lot of talk about empty shelves. Toilet paper and all of these things just literally flying off the shelf and becoming very hard to find. So we're going to talk about 4 topics today. What products are in high demand? Are store shelves really empty? And will products become harder to find? Last, how long will this last? We're going to talk about all of these things in today's video. What products are in high demand? Well, some of these make sense, and to me, some of them don't make sense. Hand sanitizer, well, okay, I see that one because we want to keep our hands clean. But the truth is, if we just wash our hands with soap and water for about 20 seconds, you get your hands pretty clean. So I think that hand sanitizer is not an item that I consider critical, but it's definitely in high demand. Right now, they're selling it on eBay for $25 a bottle for 2 ounces. This is the bottle that normally costs $1. It makes absolutely no sense, but eBay has announced that you can no longer sell things like hand sanitizer and face masks on eBay. There was a lot of price gouging going on, but I did a search right before making this video, and those things were still listed on eBay, so I don't understand it. Next is disinfectant cleaners. Well, this one makes a little more sense because this is for cleaning surfaces and doorknobs and things like that. It's your 409s and your Cloroxes and other similar products like Lysol. I kind of understand this one. Toilet paper. Well, okay, I guess this makes a little sense, but in the same regard, it doesn't make any sense. The average family uses about 1 roll per person per week. Let's say you have 3 people in your house. That means that you will go through roughly 3 rolls of toilet paper per week. It could be a little more, it could be a little less. And in a situation where something was actually a shortage, you could definitely make 1 roll of toilet paper last more than a week per person. But let's go back to 3 rolls per week for a family of 3. Well, to make it, 7 weeks, you only need roughly 20 rolls. And 20 weeks, I think they should have figured this out, or at least we'll be back on track. Maybe not, but I just don't understand the hoarding of toilet paper. I could get this one wrong, and if I do get it wrong, I welcome people to say it to me, and I will admit it, but I just don't see it. Water. Now, this one I have a real issue with because what we have going on with the coronavirus is not a threat to our water supply. So at the moment, there's no reason to think that we won't have regular drinking water available. I guess in a worst case scenario where so many people got just absolutely ill, maybe they would have a shortage of people at water treatment facilities. I think it's a huge stretch though because so much of that is automated. The water one, I just don't understand. Now, the last one is disinfectant wipes, and while these are really handy, I think they're pretty useless. At least with hand sanitizer, you're killing the bacteria on your hand, and by washing your hands, you're removing it from your hands. That all makes a lot of sense, and disinfectant cleaners, well, that's cleaning the surfaces that you touch with the hands that you clean. I get that. But disinfectant wipes, people, I don't know, I think they're worthless, and I don't understand why they're in such high demand right now, other than people just kind of want to freak out about things. Are store shelves really empty? Well, the answer is yes and no. It depends on what part of the country you live in. If it's a city that has more cases of coronavirus, then your shelves are going to be really empty. But if you live in an area such as Des Moines, Iowa, where I'm at, where currently we don't have any confirmed cases, but I think there's 3 that they're saying are nearly confirmed, our stores are more hit and miss. One store you go to can be completely wiped out, and then the next store has full shelves. It's really kind of hard to wrap your head around, but I'm going to show you some pictures that I took over the weekend, and these are pictures of several different stores, and some of them were on Saturday, some of them were on Friday, and then some of them I took the same shot, or at least a similar shot today, to kind of show you what the difference was just over the course of the last 2 days. I took this picture on Friday evening, and while you can see there's a little bit of extra space, basically the shelves of the toilet paper were still full. Then I went back today and took a picture, and it's not completely empty, but it's certainly a lot more empty than what it was. This is a good example of not a lot of change. This was Friday night again, and then when I went back today to take the same picture, I found that there wasn't a huge difference except for the part where it had the generic water. That part was gone, but if you wanted bottled water, there was still more than enough bottled water for you to buy. On Saturday, I visited this smaller grocery store, and it's kind of a regional grocery store. They're in Iowa and then probably 5 or 6 states around that area. But they had absolutely no shortages of anything. I looked at their cleaning products. The shelves were pretty full. I looked at their bottled water. That was fine. I didn't check the hand sanitizer. I forgot. And they had plenty of toilet paper, so we're in good shape there. But it's really weird to see how some of these stores are really impacted, some of them are mildly impacted, and some of them don't seem to be impacted at all. And these stores are all within 3 miles of each other, not very far. This was rubbing alcohol. Now, this one was not originally on our list, but I went to 3 different stores today and they were all wiped out on rubbing alcohol. I guess normally you probably don't sell a lot of it, so it's not something they have a lot of backstock of, but still interesting that it was all empty. At the bottom, you do see some bottles, and those are actually hydrogen peroxide, not rubbing alcohol. This was the third store I went to, and by far had the most empty shelves. Now remember, all 3 of these stores are within a few miles of each other, so we're talking about similar demographics. But if you wanted anything like a 409 or a Clorox, it wasn't going to happen. They did still have a few rolls of those disinfectant wipes that I consider to be so worthless. But hey, good news, if that's what you want, they still had them at this store. The shelf looks really empty for toilet paper, but there's actually another area, and then there was a shelf a little bit higher. But I would say that this store was half empty on toilet paper, and it was by far the most severe of the stores that we had seen. This again was the worst of the 3 stores for bottled water. They had almost no water. It didn't matter if you wanted generic, distilled, a high-end water, they were all empty. So again, it really depends which store you go to and of course what city you're in, but all of these stores were within a few miles of each other and they had dramatically different stock levels. So it'll be interesting to see if that kind of levels out or if it continues to get worse. Will more products become hard to find? Well, I think the short answer is yes. As people get more worked up about this and we start having more cases that are confirmed, and I don't think there's any way that to some extent spreading won't occur, people are going to become more and more worried. Now, you compound that with the fact that they're already buying things like toilet paper and water, and those things are running out in the stores. They're going to start thinking about other things. And I think those things are food items. Now that they have the the toiletries taken care of and the disinfectants taken care of, they're going to wonder what else they should buy, and I think that'll become shelf-stable items, and that could be things like pasta and pasta sauce and cereal and canned goods. Probably not so much produce, but anything that you can buy and keep for a long period of time, I think that will become harder to find. And something that we haven't talked about is our supply chain from China. Now, a lot of our food is made in the United States, but a lot of the containers that the food is in are made in China. We have somewhere between a 1 and 3 month time period from once they make it and China to once it actually gets to the United States. And then it becomes a question of, was it going to the factory where it's going to spend more time in the factory, or is it a final good that's ready for sale and it goes straight to the store? For the items that go straight to the store, we may not run into any trouble. We're only about a month into this, so there's already about a month or two that's on the way. However, they had some time off in China for a holiday, and that's when a lot of their factories shut down, so that meant that they had less things going out during that time period, and that might add to a shortage here in the States. How long will this last? And of course, this is the most difficult thing to say or project, and I don't know. It all depends how many more cases of the coronavirus are diagnosed and what the spreading is like, and if people are told to stay home from work. That could impact us at a lot of different levels. If people are told to stay home from work, well, that means that the trucks aren't driving from the ports to the warehouses, and no trucks are going from the warehouses to the stores, and the shelves then aren't being filled. So that perspective, it could get really bad. Now, something that we haven't talked about is as we enter the warmer months, things like the coronavirus and the flu and other common colds become less common because as the air warms, the droplets fall faster. There's a whole science to that, and I'm not the best one to explain it. But we're also spending more time outside instead of confined spaces. So I don't know how long this will last, but I think it's safe to say that probably for the next month, we're going to hear a lot more about this, and then it'll just depend in a month if this has gotten considerably worse or if things have started to kind of calm down, in which case things would get better pretty quickly. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm looking forward to bringing you more videos like this in the coming weeks ahead. We're going to talk more about what stores have the lowest stock, which stores you can find things at, if there's new items that we're running out of, and general news. But we're also going to do a few videos on making your own homemade disinfectant spray, hand sanitizer, and things like that. Make sure you like and subscribe.